really want to knit, but I managed to smash my needles to pieces, so no knitting for me now because this project is... yeah. Oh well. I'll just have to sip my tea and talk to you guys. Welcome to this episode of my crafting adventures vlog, Confessions of a Crazy Craft Lady. As you can see, I have a microphone thanks to my good friend Senja from Knit to Code podcast. So if you can hear me better, you can just thank Senja for her contribution. She's going traveling and she very generously borrowed this microphone to me for the duration of her trips. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you about one of the things that has been on my mind for quite a while. And, well, let's have a real talk about the relationship between arts and crafts. As you can imagine, I'm a huge advocate of all kinds of crafts. I haven't really come across any crafts that I haven't loved in some way. There are many that I haven't tried, mostly because I haven't had the opportunity or I don't have the resources, like, I don't know, glass blowing. If you know an easy way to try glass blowing, I'm really interested in finding out. But yeah, like, crafts are amazing. I really wish everyone had their chance to try out to do something by hand and really got the joy of learning and seeing something shape up with their hands. If you know me, like in actual real life, you also know that I do love arts. I've been taking various kinds of art lessons most of my life, and I really think that arts can enrich anyone's life, and anyone should try one or the other of various ways of doing art, whether it's painting or drawing or textile arts or digital arts or anything. Like, all of them can be so useful and contributing to your life and soul and the society as well. So one thing that I've been really confused by is the kind of opposition that people have for these two things. They maybe say that, like, I'm not artistic, I can't draw, or they say that, well, I would love to try some crafts, but I can't do that because of reasons. And I'm not saying that those reasons are not valid, because of course they are valid for the person who says that. And of course time and money and things like that are always an issue when it comes to things that actually demand some resources. But I also think that if you look at the crafts, if you look at arts as well from a certain perspective, you find that they have a lot in common, and they're kind of two different sides of a same coin, the same wonderful, very valuable coin. Let's talk about art. What is art? And I know this is a craft vlog, but I wanted to start with art because I think that's kind of what people have maybe a better idea what it is. Like, when you discuss arts, people know that, oh, that is art. And according to, I think it was like Oxford Dictionary definition, art is the expression of human creativity and skill and imagination, typically in a visual form, so something that you can see and look at and admire, and producing works that are appreciated for their beauty and imagination and the fact that it shows creativity. And I want to kind of pay attention to certain words. Well, first of all, it's a human activity. We do see bears and birds and things like that kind of produce art, but I mean, I'm kind of dubious as to what extent it's actually meaningful in that way, that often it's like very human driven agenda. Oh, let's have my dog put paw prints on this paper and call it art. And it's art, but it's still human produced art, even though the medium for the painting or whatever is the animal. I mean, I might be wrong. It could be that there are some gorillas or something that really like to decorate their living spaces or something. And if you know about this, I really want to know about it, because I'm always super interested in like humanity and human expression of things, because I'm an anthropologist. Anyway, that was a tangent. Back to the topic. And of course, art is also the works produced when you're doing art, and also the activity involved in the making of the certain piece of art. So we usually tend to recognize when we see something that is art. Or if we don't really recognize it in the art, it's like when we go to a gallery and we see someone has like hung some dirty socks from the ceiling and say like, oh, this is an expression of, I don't know, practicality and creativity or something, and people are like, no, those are just dirty socks. And fair enough, it can be really artistic, it can be, it can feel that it's not art to you, and maybe to you then that's not art. But if you see something that really takes your breath away with its beauty and creativity, then you probably will agree that, okay, that I can call art. Okay, so what is craft then, or crafts in plural? Well, I think people who do crafts kind of recognize what is craft or crafts. It's usually something that you can make by hand or with the help of machines, of course, sometimes. It's something kind of produces something tangible. It produces something useful usually, something that can be used for something that can be used for some practical purpose, but still shows high level of skill and creativity. Did you notice those words, skill and creativity? They are, once again, like I said, there are similarities there. Or by crafts you can mean the objects made by the skill, like this mug. I don't think it's handmade, but if it was handmade, people probably would say that, it's a craft project or craft object. And it can, it's still designed, so in that way, I guess it could be called craft. And it can also be referred to as the process of doing crafts. Like I did crafts in school and so on. So what makes it interesting is the concept of that both art and crafts require skill, creativity, and practice. In order to be skilled, you need to practice, but just producing something, kind of mass producing, doesn't make you an artist. It doesn't make you, it might make you a craft person, it doesn't make you a crafter or like a craft, I don't know what's the term. I think many people would agree that even to be like a true master of crafts, you still need to have creativity involved as well. Something that makes it special, something that makes it something that no one else could have produced, or very few people in the world could have produced. And you may use patterns, you may use like ideas and things like that from others, but there is still some skill and personal contribution involved. And I feel like that's really true of art as well. Like we see all kinds of artists borrowing influences from each other. Most of the artists use the same brands and the same equipment and kind of throw their own interpretation using those materials and so on, but it still makes something unique. It's still something that only the artist or the craftsmaster can produce themselves. And for that reason, I really don't understand why people feel like they're separate. There are schools who are dedicated to crafts. There are schools that are dedicated to crafts. And I mean, it might make sense because the techniques and things that are involved are a bit different, but I think most artists really appreciate the dedication and the skill that true craftspeople contribute to their craft projects or craft objects. And the same for craftspeople, they really appreciate the time and effort that goes into producing a true work of art. It's not just throwing things on a canvas or whatever your medium is. It takes thinking about the color and light and composition and framing and texture and materials and setting and context and history and all those kind of things that are relevant to any meaningful project, whether it's art or crafts. Okay, so you may ask, why am I so passionate about this? Why am I making a whole big video out of nothing, you may feel? And I mean, if you agree with me, you agree that it's like kind of over nothing. But if you're one of those people who kind of feel that, yeah, like there is a difference. I'm not saying that there isn't. I'm just saying that they are not opposed. They are kind of on parallel lines that have like touch points quite often. And I feel like many people would really benefit from experiencing both sides of the coin or both sides of the experience and the joy of making something that requires creativity and skill and personal contribution. I feel like a lot of the time in the modern working life, we don't really get the time to do something, really take our time to do it, take our time to think about it, take our time to really make it important to us, but also to others. And I think that's one of the important things that doing arts or doing crafts can really teach any one of us. And that's definitely one of the things that I've learned when I've been doing craft projects or even art projects. Personally, I really love doing both. Maybe like I haven't really managed to find that many projects where I can like combine the two in that, like using painting or things like that, which are my most favorite art media, using those in like the various textile or craft projects that I've been doing. But I really hope that one day I get to do that, and I'm actually taking a course in kind of combining mixed media, embroidery and painting and things like that. I'm super excited about it. But I've also, some years ago, like I said, I've always been kind of involved in like dabbling in arts. I like doing them, and like even when I was a child, we always had various kind of arts materials at home, and we were always encouraged to do arts and painting and drawing and just expressing our creativity in any way that like what felt meaningful to us. But crafts weren't really a thing in our household. It wasn't really like forbidden or anything. It just wasn't the thing that my parents, for example, were very interested in. So we didn't really do much of those. But there was plenty of paper and paints and pens and everything that you could draw your heart out. And we did. We have so many paintings and drawings still stored up at my parents' place. So as you can imagine, we all really embraced the whole show your creativity to the world through awful paintings at 6 years old. But a couple of years ago, I was moving houses again. I've moved quite a few times, and I was moving because I was going to move abroad. Yeah, I was moving abroad to do an exchange study in Norway, and we were packing my stuff, and one of my very sensible friends, I only seem to have sensible friends, and I'm not sensible at all, so how did that happen? But so we were packing, and I found my old paints and art stuff, and I was like, oh, I really wish, I really want to keep these. I know that they take so much space, but I want to keep all these paints and papers and scraps and stuff that I've been using for paint or art. And my sensible friend said to me, like, Tiina, you don't have to do everything. You can, it's fine that at one point in your life you were the person who did arts and really enjoyed it. But these days you're busy with other things. You're knitting and you're doing all this kind of craft stuff and reading and you're running organizations and stuff. So it's fine if you don't have time or energy or something to do arts right now. You can just kind of let go. And I was like, no, that's so wrong. I'm not going to do that. So that was kind of my wake-up call for thinking that, for those things that you really appreciate and want to have in your life, you have to make time for them. And even if it's tiny little bit of time, it still makes a difference in that it's kind of a constant thing in your life. So I went to do a painting course, and I've been on a couple of painting courses ever since, and I'm starting one again this fall alongside my weaving course, of course. All my evenings will be busy with courses. Oh no, Tiina, what did you do? It's like I've never really wanted to become an artist. I've never really wanted to become a crafts master or anything, but I wanted to have them in my life. And I guess my point with this video was to encourage people that you can have one or the other or both in your life if that's what you want. And I really encourage, even if you don't really want to make them a permanent part in your life, to kind of go and try things. It's not that serious. You can just go and try. It will be fun. You will learn something and it will be fun. Actually, Kathy Hay has this amazing video on like how to make time for things that are important to you. She's especially talking about sewing. But I think it's applicable for any creative project, like any art project, any craft project, that kind of think what matters to you, think what kind of makes something important to you, think how much time you can devote to it, and see if you can do something about it. And what I found is often that in order, like once you start doing something, you're gonna want to do it more, so you make more time for it, so you do it more, and then you kind of make more time to it until you eventually reach a limit that you can't just spend all your time sewing or painting or whatever. But the journey there will really enrich you and make you feel like you're improving yourself and you're growing as a person. And that's so important. We don't really pay enough attention to growing as people, as growing as persons, as growing ourselves, and finding what matters to us, and finding how can we be more creative and bring the human component to our lives and to other people's lives, make life important to everyone. So at the end, I kind of want to give you a few ideas for inspiration and stuff, kind of points or hints as to like where to get started on your artistic, craftistic journey. I found from our bookshelves over there actually these two books by Lorna Scobie. They are 365 days of drawing and 360 days of art. And I think we kind of gave these to each other with my partner as Christmas or Valentine's or anniversary gifts or something, because we had this kind of idea at the end of last year, is that we really wanted to bring more kind of day-to-day art to our lives and kind of just do more of it, even if it's just a tiny little bit. These are great in that they are kind of daily tasks that you can do, and it says fill the page with drawing of shells, and then you can just draw shells. And it doesn't matter what type they are. It doesn't matter how good they are. No one is going to judge you because it's just for you. And the same with the art. Is this kind of more journally, in that maybe that they also have some writing exercises. but also doodling and drawing and just things like that. So there are questions like, what have you enjoyed drawing so far? Take this book, loose paper or a sketchbook onto a train, cafe or anywhere you can sit and look and practice drawing people out and about. And so on, and so on. There's actually even a calligraphy practice thing that's very popular at the moment. And so on. So these are just like one thing that we have found fairly useful. And then I also recommend going to see art, going to see crafts in things like museums and stuff. Like in Finland, we have this great concept called Museum Card, where by paying a sum like 60 or 70 euros, you get this card and you have access to like most of the museums in Finland by just showing that card. And you can go as many times as you want, and you don't have to stay there for a whole day. You don't have to make a thing out of it. You can just kind of pop in when you have time and enjoy the art or whatever you can find there. And I find that that's really inspiring because it makes art kind of a part of your everyday practice if you want. You can kind of, while waiting for a train or something, just go and see some art that is close by. So that's really nice. I went to the Design Museum and Kiasma, which is the contemporary museum of art in Finland or Helsinki, and they had amazing exhibitions on like various kind of textiles and wood things and woodworks and artisans showing what they do. And I think you can really find those kind of things almost anywhere. I also quite recently went to Atheneum, which is the National Gallery of Finland, and I was just admiring all the old dresses and costumes and the clothes that people were wearing in the paintings of the like 1800s and so on. So if you really kind of open your eyes, you can see art and you can see inspiration anywhere for your crafts, and the opposite way around as well. At the Design Museum, there is this exhibition at the moment, which is very much inspired by craftspeople all around the world, and they have tried to find all these various types of craftspeople to do various kind of objects of art and design, so that they can kind of bring, or you can bring those in your everyday life. And not everyone has access to Siberian matryoshka doll makers or Japanese silk weavers or Mexican paper cutters or something, but they kind of wanted to bring all of those together for everyone to admire. And I think that's very admirable and that's very inspiring, and it makes sense if you think about it, that it's just kind of bringing the art and creativity and crafts and the skill all together to create something wonderful. And the last thing is, well, as you can see from my face, I'm like, should I even show this? But I'm going to show it. It's, I don't know if you can see this. I'll maybe take a picture. But it's a painting I did a couple of years ago on my abstract expressionism course, and it's basically kind of Pollock style art. So you just splash things on paper or canvas and hope for the best. And this is made with just some acrylics and like a paint roller thing. No, it's not even a paint roller. It's just like a rubber roller thing. And then by dropping some ink on top. And it's very simple, but I think it created really interesting kind of organic shapes. And it was really fun to do. It was really easy to do as well. So I dare you to try something like this and post it on Instagram and tag me or something. I'm really interested in seeing what you come up with. So if you didn't notice, or if you didn't know yet, I finally made the change. So these days my Instagram and Ravelry are both under Tiina-Maaria Crafts. So I hope you follow me on Instagram, and maybe we'll be friends on Ravelry as well. So on Instagram I will be kind of posting all kind of behind the scenes things and things that I find I'm enjoying at the moment, and also the various craft projects that I'm working on at the same time, because often when I make these videos you can kind of see what else is going on at the same time, usually quite a lot. So maybe you'll find that interesting as well. So see you on Instagram, Tiina-Maaria Crafts. And that was it. That was I don't know how long it's been, probably quite long, but I hope you enjoyed this rant of mine, and I hope you enjoyed this kind of real talk. And I'm hoping to do these more on various subjects, not super often, but every now and then, because I want to give people something to think about. I want people to have something to talk about. And if this gave you any ideas or thoughts or something, just write a comment. I hope people will reply to you as well, and we can have a nice little chat about all these subjects, and tell me about what you think about arts and crafts and inspiration and creativity, and how all of those relate together, how much skill is involved in making something creative or arts or craft project. I'm really looking forward to hearing from you, and I hope you have a really nice day, and see you at my next video. Bye. Confessions of a Crazy Craft. Atheneum, which is the contemporary museum museum of art in Finland. Contemporary. We went to Design Museum and Atheneum and Kiasma, which is